on this issue again. In 2006, by a 3-to-1 margin, the citizens, the working people of Missouri that we represent, voted to support the raise in the minimum wage. We believe that the people we represent and Missouri citizens will do that same thing again. So our hope is that you are not too afraid of something, or for other reasons, not willing to allow the citizens of Missouri to vote on this issue again.
Very good. Senator Parsons has a question.
Thank you. When you was talking about somebody else's information was incorrect, their data, when you was open, you said something about
Yes.
their information. Why is yours right and theirs wrong?
Ours is academic data which comes from people who aren't making money off of whether or not this goes up or down.
And where did theirs come from?
Some of it comes from, as was said, comes from the retail industry itself and the studies that they have. He actually said so. One of the gentlemen said so. So I'm saying we're working at
I was
different
just
settings.
curious how sometimes you hear that in committee, how come yours is accurate, somebody else is not accurate. When they're saying theirs is accurate, said yours is not accurate.
My dad always told me to follow the money. So I follow the money, and our figures don't come from people who make anything off of either way this study goes.
Thank you.
Hey, 60% of the time, statistics are right 100% of the time. Thank you very much. Who's next?
Okay, next up would be Jake Jackson.
Welcome, Jake.
Hi, I'm Jake Johnson. I work in Columbia at both Schnucks grocery store and Barnes & Noble. My typical day starts at 5 in the morning when I hop on my bicycle, regardless of the weather. Bike into Schnucks, there by 5:30, work an 8-hour day until my day's over, until that shift is over. Then I'm on my bicycle on the way to Barnes & Noble to finish off at 10:30 at night. I think there's a lot of misconception that minimum wage earners are lazy workers. That is not the case. There's a lot of misconception that minimum wage earners are young workers, and I work with a gamut of people from 18 years old and in school, all the way up to over their 50s, trying to supplement their retirement. I work with everybody, and nobody I work with is making it. The conversations around the break rooms are about which bills to pay and how to take care of your children. I'm expecting my first child any moment now. My wife is pregnant, and it's a game with us at the moment because I'm talking about reducing my hours at Barnes & Noble. You can't work an 18 to 20 hour day right after you have a kid. And so the question is, do I quit my Barnes & Noble job, go down to 2 days a week, or do I pick up a night job to make up those same hours and try to get a 20-hour day in and raise a family with that? I make more than minimum wage. I'm hovering around $8, a little under at Barnes & Noble, a little over at Schnucks. It's a struggle. It's a daily struggle. But we make it, and we make it work, and we're just wanting everyone else to help make it work too, and do their part.
Very good. Any questions of this witness? Seeing none, thank you for coming and sharing your story. Senator, who's next?
Next up will be Reverend John.
Welcome, Reverend.
Thank you. 3 minutes, my congregation would like you, I think.
I aim to please the people of the faith.
My name is Father John Stratton, and I am a priest of the Episcopal Diocese of Missouri. And I am in support of this bill, particularly from a Christian perspective, which is the only perspective that I can bring. There's a lot of rhetoric in the political sphere about our nation being founded on Christian values and principles. Some of you today might have been elected because of those Christian values and principles, and I imagine that there are people in this building who were indeed elected because of so-called Christian values and principles. And I, for one, am a big fan of Christian values. In fact, that's why I'm here today, to urge legislatures and all those in power to help make our economy more in line with the values of justice that Christ preached. Because whenever I read the Gospels that are about bringing good news to the poor, about raising up the lowly, about filling the hungry with good things, I can't imagine that an economy could possibly be Christian that says it's okay for a single mother to work full-time and yet not have enough money to pay the bills, to pay the rent, or to provide the basic needs for her child. That is not fair and is definitely not Christian. When I read St. Paul, who tells us that we're all one body and that the least suffers, or that we all suffer when just the least suffers, I can't call our economy Christian that allows the wealthy members of our society to benefit at the expense of those who are paid the least in our society. So I believe that as a state and as a nation, we are not worthy of the name Christ if we continue to allow and perpetuate an economy that creates huge gaps of inequality between the rich and between the wealthy. And I deal with this every day as a priest. There are people in my congregation who sit in the pews, who work in these minimum wage jobs and yet spend the night in homeless shelters. And I'm told by my clergy colleagues that Christ Church Cathedral, where I'm at, is not alone in this. There are hard-working Christian women and men who can't make ends meet, and that's just wrong. These are people we pray besides. These are people we pray for. These are people we worship with. These are people that we kneel at the communion altar together. So I'm here to urge those in power. I'm here to urge the legislators to help pass this bill because I believe that it does make our economy more just and more Christ-like. And it might not make our nation a Christian nation, but it's at least a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Very good. 7 seconds to spare. Man. You were concise. You had it down.
Well, I'm a professional, so.
Don't try that at home, ladies and gentlemen. He's a professional. Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to bring up Honorable Jeanette Monarch.
Welcome, Representative. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Senator Roop and members of the committee, it's good to be with you, and I'm ready for your stand-up. Tell me when you're performing because you're quite funny.
It's a dull committee sometimes. You have to liven it up.
Well, I won't repeat things that have been said before. A lot of the things that I would have said came out with the professor earlier. You have some documents that back up some of the things that have been said. But I will mention that the Missouri Association for Social Welfare, for which I'm executive director, supports this bill because we believe that workers shouldn't live in poverty. We think it would be helpful if you take a look at the living wage calculator that is provided by MIT. I have the website there on the handout. And you'll find that in most of your counties, a living wage for a parent with 2 kids is going to be around $19 an hour. If you had 2 parents working at minimum wage, you couldn't get to what it takes to truly afford just basic human needs of shelter, things like heat that's pretty important on a day like today and yesterday, to be able to afford your rent, to be able to have decent clothing, to be able to have transportation to get to your job. So it's important that we use honest numbers. People need to make more than they're making now in order to have basic human needs. And we hope that you will take a look at what it costs. The documents from the Economic Policy Institute do show you that raising the minimum wage would disproportionately help women, since women are a higher percent, 54.5% of those currently making minimum wage. And it would also would, as we said earlier, 87.9% of those who would be helped are over 20. So we strongly support this bill and think that it's been constructed in a very good way, and we thank the senator.
Very good. Any questions? Seeing none, thank you. And we passed out your handouts.
Patrick with Chipotle work, wasn't it?
Hello, Leeper. I work at Chipotle in University City, St. Louis. I've been at Chipotle for 3 years as of today. With the next to nothing wages that I receive from Chipotle, I have to make a lot of sacrifices, whether I pay electric or gas. After rent is paid, I'm pretty much left with nothing. There are days where I have to walk to the Metrolink, which is about an hour and 15-minute walk away from my house, just to save 15 cents or $1, because I don't have the money to pay $6 a day to get back and forth to work and home. As far as eating, I'd say a 50-cent honey bun or a 50-cent nutty buddy or a pack of ramen noodles. It's like steak. You know, get what you can get. I get one meal at work. We're not allowed to take that home for whatever reason. So I pretty much stuff myself while I'm there. Other than that, I've spoken to a lot of people in my community as far as about minimum wages and whatnot, and a lot of people can relate. One of my next door neighbors is a single mother raising 2 kids, and it's pretty much the same thing with her. She pretty much will feed her kids and she'll go without. There are days I've seen her walking down Grand and knowing she's on her way to work, she can't afford a $2 bus pass. I think after I get my check, I'm pretty much left with nothing. At the end of every shift, we get little tips. Sometimes we'll walk away with a max of maybe $3, $2, $3. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it really, really comes in handy. There are days where I wonder, how will I get to work? How will I make it? Like, it's not enough. And it's a consistent struggle, it's a constant worry. I've lost a home due to the wages that I make, so, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much for sharing your story. Is there any questions? Seeing none, just make sure you fill out a witness form before you head back. Senator?
Reverend Gold.
Mr. Chairman and rest of the committee, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Reverend Dr. Cassandra Gould, pastor of Queen Chapel, one of the oldest churches right here in Jefferson City. I represent Missouri Faith Voices for Jefferson City, the AME Church, and probably more than collectively 500 congregations throughout this state. I am here just because I understand that minimum wage is a human dignity issue. I've spent more than half of my life as a single parent, and gratefully, literally by the grace of God, did not depend on the minimum wage. But if I had, I don't think I would have been able to afford. I have a total of 4 degrees myself, 2 children that I educated, and as well as a niece. I would not have been able to do that if I would have been suffering living on minimum wage, having to depend on probably the state to take care of me. And so we look at issues, social issues, myself, other pastors with food pantries and etc. We really have, I've heard a picture that's been painted of minimum wage workers as being the 18-year-old McDonald's worker or the 20-year-old college student. But what I see in my community dinners right here in Jefferson City, I see the elderly. I see people that are 60 years old, not yet eligible for Social Security, that are working at Walmart and having to depend on the Samaritan Center, churches all across town because they don't make enough to eat. I see parents, two parents with 2 children, 3 children that are constantly battling, as we've heard other testimonies. Will I eat or will I have gas in my car? And some of them have given up their cars, and so they have to decide, will they eat, will they have prescriptions, or will their children be able to have not designer clothes, but just basic clothing to be able to go to school. During the sanitation worker strike in the 60s, Dr. King said that not providing Americans with basic adequate wages was a matter of a lack of social vision. And I think it's really more of a matter of moral turpitude. My moral compass tells me, much like my classmate Reverend John, that if we're not taking care of the least of these, those that cannot afford to do anything else, whether you're a Christian or not, then we're just wrong. And I think that if we are not able to raise the minimum wage, we see an increase in crime because frankly, some people are prone to commit crimes just to survive. We see an increase in health issues and et cetera because of the stress and et cetera that is caused by taking care of a family on next to nothing. So I am here to say that not only is it a matter, not only is it a Christian thing to do, but it is just a right thing to do if we believe in human dignity and that people should have access to basics such as food, clothing, and shelter.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Is there any questions of this witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Make sure you fill out a witness form.
The last one on the list will be Amy.
Is there anyone besides Amy that would like to testify today?
I'm the closer, right?
Everybody else that raised their hands are people that are here all the time, so
Okay.
they can just make their presence noted.
It's very nice to be here. My name is Amy Genowine, and I am the face of that single mother that you've heard so much about. I am part of the 43% of single mothers that are now under poverty level due to lack of wages. I make above minimum wage at the 2 jobs that I work at, from 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. every day. On weekends, there's no downtime, there's still work. My 3 children have sacrificed time for me so that I can work and make a wage to support them. And for me, that's unacceptable. I think that I should earn enough at one job to maintain a good quality of life with my children. I should be able to go to their soccer games. I should be able to go to their dance recitals and to not have to worry about how I'm going to pay my rent every month. Now, for me, there are, 43% of us, that's an unacceptable number. If we raised it even to the $10 an hour that's proposed here, there's absolutely no way I could still make it on one job. So the 10 is a modest number. You know, if it were me, I would go that 15. That would be the only way that I could maintain one job, support my children, and still have a good standard of living. Thank you for your time.
Very good. Thank you for your testimony. Is there any questions? Seeing none. You're here to represent the union.
Couple of them.
Couple of them. Which unions are they?
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. Clark Brown, Missouri State Council of Service Employees International Union, the low-wage entry-level employment workers. Also speaking on the record for the Missouri AFL-CIO in their absence.
You're here to testify in support of the bill.
That is correct, Chairman.
Excellent testimony. Thank you very much. Make sure you fill out a witness form. Last one. Bring us home.
Good afternoon, Senator, and committee. My name is Meg Olson.
There you go.
My name is Meg Olson, and I work in the Advocacy Department at Catholic Charities of St. Louis, and I'm also the director of the Catholic Campaign for Human Development. I think everything that we've heard today echoes what the Catholic Church feels about the dignity of work, the dignity of workers, and the dignity of the human being. Last week I was at the Catholic Social Ministry Gathering with the U.S. Catholic Conference of Bishops in Washington, D.C., and we were advocating for this very bill at the federal level that I would like to say was actually started by Pope Francis. Anyway, an issue came up when I was talking to Senator Blunt, our senator from Missouri, and we both agreed that so economic inequality and the poverty wage that families, that working parents like Amy are earning today are denying them the ability to participate in family life. Parents who work 2 and 3 jobs are not able to participate as parents. They're not able to go to those report card pickup and things of that sort that allow, the flourishing of their children. And so that's the final point I wanted to make today.
Excellent.
So thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Is there any questions? Seeing none, just send in a witness form, Otto.
Speak in favor of on behalf of Missouri Indiana.
You're gone to record. Thank you very much. Turn in a witness form.
In closing, Mr. Chairman, I would like to just thank you for giving me the opportunity, as well as all of those that traveled here today, to speak in support of increasing the minimum wage. We're not asking you all to vote to increase minimum wage. What we're asking you to do is to allow for the voters to decide. Allow the voters to decide by allowing for this bill to go to the ballot. That's it.
Very good.
Thank you.
And I would like to point out, you got all your witnesses in. Everybody got to have their say today.
Thank you.
Well, we have this room until 3 o'clock, so I'm going to sit here until 2:59. Yeah, everyone you remember. It's Jennifer the intern. We're adjourned.
Sorry, Jennifer, I thought that was his last
It's okay, I was harassing him in the car.
We had a coffee meeting a couple weeks ago at the coffee place.
Oh, Mark Evans.
It was really good.
No, no.
And if you could leave what